So how are you? I'm just going to come out of the rip because I watched your video last night. I saw it on Instagram. I think it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it was a long video, and I think it was an important video for many
Yeah.
reasons. And I want to butter your bread first, and it's going to be
Hmm.
wrapped in a question. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
I want to commend you for going out there and you just and this is a compliment, having a stream of consciousness about what you're going through in your life as far as personally, professionally, and coming out there with a non-polished answer, because I think there are a lot of people who work in this industry and then in this world, they want to come to their public, to the people that consume their content, and they want to have this perfect thing. But
Right.
the world's not perfect, and someone
Yeah.
who's a huge LAUV fan, if they're going through something similar, they're not going to have a perfectly prepared response to how they're feeling.
Right.
So for
Right.
you to just put that out there for all your listeners with that stream of consciousness, hey, this is what I'm going through, I'm working through it right now. Kudos to you, because there's someone out there that resonated with, and I know it helped them in one way.
Yeah. No, I definitely thank you so much. I was definitely nervous to post that video, and it was so long. I was rambling, but I felt like it was really important for me to do, just because like I have a tendency, at least right now, to like kind of hold myself back and be like, yeah, like I want to put something out polished, like I want to have all the answers, but the truth is like I just don't.
Yeah.
And like what's more important to me is just like feeling free and like I'm connecting with people. So as long as I'm being honest, then like I guess that's all I can do
So I
for
think
that.
the one angle, the thing that the video that people don't know is, how did you talk yourself into that? Because I'm sure there are people who watch that video who haven't talked themselves into having that stream of consciousness, whether it's on social media, whether it's with people in their life. How did LAUV talk LAUV into doing that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, honestly, it's just a lot of help around me too. Like I was talking to my creative director who's I'm working on all the stuff for my new album and single and everything. And I was just like, like I just want to be like out and about, like with my, is I've always felt there's been a lot of pivotal moments in my career and my life where I've made myself just open up really like as broad as much as I can. And I've always felt like those have been like the right things for me to do. They've helped me grow too, just because it's like the more I can speak about what I'm actually feeling and put it in front of friends, family, or even, people that I don't know as personally, I feel like the thing that it always does for me is it makes me feel more free and it makes me feel happier and lighter and more excited to keep going. So I was talking to him, my creative director, and he was just like, like we don't have to put together all this like polished stuff for you to like start talking about where you're at in your life. And, it doesn't have to be like like official teasers and all this and that. He was like, you can just be on camera and just be yourself. And I was just like, I'm going to try and challenge myself to do it. And at first I wanted to cut it up and edit it. And then I was like, no, 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 no. If people are really here to watch it, they'll watch the 6 minutes. If not, it's totally fine. Doesn't matter. Not doing it for, particularly for people to watch, so yeah, I guess it was just kind of step by step. And what I'm going through right now has definitely been like a very long, 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 long process, and it still feels like
I
a
would say
very
you're
long
not
one.
at the finish line either. You're right in the middle of it, which is, and again, that's perfect. That's life, right?
Yeah,
No one's at
yeah,
any finish line for anything. You think you're at the finish line for this point in your life, whatever it is. Guess what? The race is starting again
yep,
immediately.
100%, 100%. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I also just feel like part of this has been like my whole life. I feel like the thing that draws me to being an artist and making music and living a creative life is like that commitment to like understanding that I'm probably going to be always evolving. I'm never going to reach a point where I'm like, this is who I am and I now know that 100% and this is me forever and I'm going to settle into that. Like I think in some ways I'm feeling closer, actually pretty much every way I'm feeling way closer to myself than I ever have. But I also recognize that I'm sure, a few months down the line, it's just everything's just going to keep changing.
Hmm.
So um,
So
yeah,
how did,
just
and I feel that way, and again, our jobs are very different. Like
yeah,
Jeremiah on the radio today was not Jeremiah on the radio 10 years ago when I started doing
yeah,
this, and I'm sure LAUV day one of making music is
yeah,
different now. How did LAUV get to LAUV today? What, well, not like every detail, but again, your video
yeah,
inspired me so much to think about the people consuming the content we put out, that I'm,
yeah,
again, there's someone out there trying to figure out who they are, whether it's professionally,
yeah,
personally. What are some of the highlights from your evolution as an artist or as a human being that you
That's
look
a,
back on?
I love this question. Thank you for asking this question. I actually really love it.
Hey, this is all
I
on
mean,
you. You inspired this whole line of questioning with
aw,
that video, honestly.
okay, cool. I mean, first and foremost, I feel like I want to say that like what I'm realizing is like, especially when it comes to my music, it's like I've always been who I feel like I am, but I just wasn't aware of it in the same way before. So I feel like there's some comfort in remembering that like if you're trying to figure yourself out personally for any reason, doesn't matter what it is, like it's I think for a second I was like, oh, like I'm gonna be a whole new person. And I think in some ways it's like, no, it's just like you're gonna be more aware of who you truly are and and be in harmony with your own mind. Because I feel like I've been in dissonance with my mind for so many years and had so much like mental health struggles and you know, between periods of depression and really bad OCD and anxiety and I kind of feel like the more I've faced the stuff that scared me and the more that I've allowed space instead of looking at what's pushing against me. Like if I look at my life and like all the things that were spinning around in my head for all my 20s, like it's all the stuff that now I'm like, I'm just kind of just gonna almost at first pretend almost like as if it's a joke. Like I'm just going along with what my mind is telling me just to entertain it. And it doesn't mean anything's necessarily true, but I feel like in doing that, I've been able to feel what feels true and what doesn't. But before I was just fighting myself all the time, like always having all these thoughts that were just every day, like just slamming me. And I was always just like, I have anxiety, like I'm OCD and I'm depressed and I'm fighting uphill all the time. And like no matter how good my life was on the outside, it was just always that. And I feel like the more that I've, I mean, one thing I'll say is I think not to ramble too much, but one, I have to really give credit to a few things. One is like unconditional love. Like I live with my cousin and his wife, and that's been a more recent thing. And being unconditionally loved by them has been one of the biggest, most pivotal things in my life because I came to realize how lonely and scary and how hard life is, especially in LA when, yeah, you're doing what you love, but everything, all your relationships are centered around like who you are to other people in that way and not really centered on like just like I love you because you exist. So I think unconditional love, like watering those relationships in your life is so huge because it's like that's where you kind of get the true mirror of who you are. So that, and then also, yeah, in general, like, falling in love, with, if you find somebody, in a different type of love where you actually fall in love with them, regardless, I guess, of what kind of love that is, where you feel like you actually feel comfortable being yourself. Like that's another huge thing. And I think staying close to people like that, even if you don't understand why, like, I feel like I didn't understand, like, exactly, like at first, maybe there's people that I would almost be like, oh, you're too happy or you're too this. Like, I don't know if I get you. But over time, it actually just really, you just start to be like, wow, they just are maybe happy with themselves and accept themselves. And I can learn how to do that too. So
It's a freeing thing, and that unconditional love, I can't echo that enough because I've been so lucky to experience that in my life with my family.
yeah.
and
Yeah.
and people always they'll say to me about my demeanor and I'm whatever positive and stuff, but it's like that's what you said right there. That's the core. That's the fuel of it. Is that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
mom, that dad, that whoever it is, that cousin and
Yeah.
his wife living with you, they
Yeah.
fuel that tank that just, I mean, it puts you
Yeah.
into overdrive and really
Yeah.
gets you accepting of yourself.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Sorry, I'm not being rude. My notes are on my phone and it keeps locking.
Oh no, you're so good. You're so good. This is great. I love this.
So where did I want to Okay, so I do want to talk about I know we got real heavy there, but I do want to talk about the music for a second because the other part
Yeah.
of that video that was amazing was the album and the name of
Yeah.
the album, and I swear you were this close to saying it.
So close.
You
So
did.
close.
So
I'm so
I'm
close.
not gonna pull out. I'm not gonna pull it out of you. But what is for sure off the table? What have you thrown away?
In terms of titles?
Yes, I want to know. I want to know. I want to know all of them.
Okay, well, that's actually I love that question too. For a while I thought it was going to be self-titled, and then maybe it will be. Like I thought I was going to just call it LAUV, or I
Hmm.
thought I was going to just call it Ari, or
Is there a
I
thing
had
behind being calling it self-titled? Because obviously a lot of bands doing it. Is there a certain thing you're looking for when naming it self-titling the album after yourself?
well, yeah, I feel like what I wanted to do is a lot of this music really truly brings me back to why I started making music as LAUV in the first place. And
Hmm.
like, and it's really feeling like picking up where I, maybe have gotten lost in the past, picking up where I left off before. And in a way that's so genuine to me, where it's like I feel like, in some sense you could be like, oh, like artists are supposed to evolve and so on and so forth and make different stuff. And I totally feel that, but I also feel like there was some really special stuff that was inspiring me that I kind of, I don't know, I just avoided after a few years being an artist. So it's getting back to that. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it's called Loud because it's kind of like getting back to roots. And
Okay.
but then so I was thinking about that. At one point, I was going to call it "It's You." I had so many titles, like it was like
I would
insane.
love to scroll through your notes app on your phone, honestly.
Oh, my note, yeah, it's juicy. One was going to be tip of my tongue. Like I had a lot of album titles that I was going to do, but this one, I'm just sitting with it because I don't want to jinx it yet. I want to make sure that it continues to feel great over the next, few weeks or months. Because I'm still making the album. So yeah.
Is it changing lights? Because the changing lights in your room, what is that? I need to know.
Oh my God. So
It was in the video too.
I
What?
have so I had like a party a few weeks ago
Uh-huh.
and I got oh, this one's off, but there's like a laser back there. Anyways, I took the lights from the party and just brought them into my studio. I have a fog machine in my studio now too.
I love it.
So sometimes when I'm making a beat, I'll literally turn all the lights off and then blast the fog machine so you can't see. And then the lights are going crazy. There's lasers in the studio. It's
Do
insane.
you ever take that minute and step back and be like, this is my job right now?
Yeah, no, I haven't lately, and I'm like, that's crazy. Like, it's so crazy.
Okay, good. That light was bugging me. I had to figure out what it was. Um, so I want to talk about the movie. So I saw the movie. I took my kids to see it. I've got three kids, 11, 8, and 5. I forget if we brought the 5-year-old. He's a pain in the ass sometimes. Anyways, but no, I love the movie, and the process of making a song for a movie, and I don't, and forgive me for not knowing if you made the song for the movie, if the song was ready,
Yeah.
and so you made it. So what was that process like for you? For like they're like, hey, here's this movie, it's Elemental, we want a song, and then off you go.
Yeah. I was real nervous, like, which is silly because, like I've been doing this for long enough. I feel like at first I almost didn't trust myself. Like I
Hmm.
was like, I went in and met with the team there at Pixar and saw like a storyboard and was just vibing with that. And like,
Oh yeah, how far ahead were you making the song? Like, were animations done yet, or was it just storyboards?
no, it was storyboard at first. Yeah, I started making the song around then. Yeah, it was really crazy. And then I kind of got to come in a couple more times and see the animation as it was being done. So that was, I think, probably something that very few people outside of Pixar get to experience. So that was really cool. Um, Watching it. I mean, it's such a crazy process. Like the detail is just actually nuts. Like they work really hard. And they also work really hard like up until release date. Like it was like stuff was being locked in pretty close to the movie
Is it
coming out. So
really? That's
yeah.
so. It's so interesting to me because you see how detailed that is, and that can't. I mean,
Yeah.
that takes time, and
Yeah.
to
People
be
are
changing
working
stuff like
like
that.
they and everyone loves it. Like it's such a cool process to witness. Everyone's so like positive and has so much imagination there. So I found that really inspiring. But yeah, I just got to like hear a little bit of the backstory behind the film. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna be working with Thomas Newman, like such a legendary
Right.
composer and it was just crazy. I went to a studio and he kind of played me a couple of the like sound vibes that he was working with for the movie. And he was like, do you like any of these things? And there was a couple of loops that I really liked, just textures and stuff. And then I was like, could you send me those? He sent me those. And I was like, just alone in the room for a second and just turned a microphone on and a keyboard. And I just looped those loops for like, I don't know, like 10 minutes on my software and then did a pass of playing piano chords and singing melodies. And that's how the structure of the song was built. It was in that moment that like
Wow.
I just got all the melodies and the piano chords. And then from there, yeah, I was just producing it out, writing all the lyrics and doing edits and stuff. So
Do you remember
yeah.
that the nugget that you discovered when you know it was going to be called "Steal the Show"? Because I love that title.
It was, yeah, you know what? If I'm not mistaken, it was actually a really um like not I almost want to say like random moment, like not random moment, but it was just like really, yeah, kind of out of nowhere. Like it was like because I had a couple of the other lyrics. Like I had like the one-way train lyric. I had if it's real, then darling, let me know. And then I don't think I had the Still the Show lyric yet. And then I went in with one of my longtime collaborators and good friends, Michael Matosik, and we write a lot of lyrics and stuff together. So I feel like really comfortable around him, especially with that kind of stuff. And we were just vibing in the room, like writing lyrics and kind of just having fun with it because we were like, okay, this is for a film, and like it's not. I'm not taking it so in a good way. I'm not taking it so seriously. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where it's like for my own music, like when it's just me, sometimes I overthink it. So, anyways, yeah, and it just came out subconsciously, and we are like, that's really cool. And
And
yeah,
I've never seen it used in that context before of stealing the
yeah,
show. Normally it's about stealing. Yeah, it's about a performance of some sort
yeah,
to steal
yeah,
the
yeah,
show.
yeah.
So to use in that
Yeah.
context is really cool. I've never seen that before.
Thank you.
Well, dude, this has been a great chat. I have no idea how long we were supposed to talk. If I'm over, if I'm under, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, this has been my favorite. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
dude, that's nice.
Yeah,
That's nice.
no, this
I
is fun.
appreciate hearing that, man. Well, dude, next time you come to Cleveland, please stop by. We're
Yeah,
downtown now. I'll show you the studio. We'll hang
absolutely.
out. We'll chat. Whatever. We'll go get sushi. I
Okay,
don't care.
perfect.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it, and best of luck.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you so
We'll
much.
talk to you soon.
All right, peace.
Bye.